barn burner for sure. I think both of these squads really, really have some strong players, and it's going to be very interesting to see who's able to take that early lead, able to get that early momentum. Smash is such a momentum-based game, especially in this crew battles format. So, I mean, it's really, I think, going to come down to who takes that first 3 stocks. But then again, we've seen plenty of come-behind scenarios in the past, so I don't want to rule anything out either. I mean, the last time we saw these two teams go head-to-head, Tony Pajamas was absolutely going nuts in the lobby, cleaning house. We'll see if SNHU has devised a response to that player, because definitely has been their undoing in the past. Still though, I mean, SNHU has plenty in their own arsenal. I've heard that, I believe it was Thrigs actually defeated Luxa at a local tournament, I believe yesterday. So there's going to be even more recent history going into this matchup. Right now, we're just waiting on this lobby to get all set up and ready, everybody to join. Once that happens, I assume we're going to be going in pretty hot. So grab your popcorn, because this is, like I said, absolute barn burner territory here, especially after a very solid 2-0 victory last week. SNHU, again, they're really just going to be looking to ride that momentum out, stay that #1 seed, keep it going. As is tradition, I have received word we are going to be seeing Steven start us off tonight on the Mario, as usual. Don't feel any need, any urgency to get too fancy with it to start us off. Steven, a very, very consistently strong player, able to work well in a lot of matchups. Mario is a very all-around character, and Steven's got those combos down pat. The amount of times that he hits those is obscene. It legitimately ventures into ridiculous territory with the consistency that he hits those combos. And that's so important, because it means that Mario is able to take some really, really early stocks, which not only helps the numbers, but can really inflate or deflate the mental game of the respective team, depending on who's getting hit by it and who is performing the combo itself. So I really do think that this is a smart choice. This is a opener that SNHU has been running with just about for as long as Steven has been on the team, has shown great success in the past. I don't see any reason to change it. Obviously, Coach Duffy sees absolutely no reason to change what has been working for so long. So, I mean, really, Steven is just, the onus is going to be on him to really come out of the gate hot, get those early stocks, really make the most of his 3, extend those out, preferably all the way to the end. But against Fisher East, you know you're not 12-0ing. I just really, really am excited, but also dreading the appearance of Tony Pajamas, especially if he chooses to stay on that nest that we have seen so many times before, the destroyer of worlds. But as we wait here, just to get into the lobby, I really think that a lot of this matchup, not to put all the pressure on one player, but I really think a lot of this match is going to revolve around Tony Pajamas. I mean, every single time that we've seen these two teams clash, he's been the star player, taking stocks left, right, and center. I believe recently, fairly recently, last semester, Fisher East, this squad played our Smash Yellow team. So we've gotten to see plenty of looks into Tony Pajamas, but really, I mean, I don't know, if I went into the lobby against that guy, I would be down in maybe 30 seconds. It's obscene how well he's able to string those combos together, rack up early percent, and execute on the final blow just to get that stock immediately. it's going to be really interesting to see how Steven, if he's able to make that far, is going to be able to deal with that, or the rest of SNHU Blue, of course. We don't know exactly who Fisher East is going to be sending out first. So now your guess is as good as mine. In the meantime, I find that we might have a perfect opportunity to promote Granite State Grind, which is going to be happening this weekend, Saturday, at the Dining Center. If you want more Super Smash Brothers, then that's where you're going to want to be. We're going to be live streaming it. I believe we're planning on running a doubles bracket as well as a special other bracket that my good pal Kresnik is going to be running. But for more details on all of that, you're going to want to join our Discord or check all of our social media pages where the bracket will be posted along with the sign-up page. You don't want to miss it. It's always a good time. And you're going to get a taste for a few of the players. If you haven't seen them here tonight, I know Steven is most likely planning on showing up. I know actually a good chunk of the Smash team generally tends to show up, both blue and yellow. So, you're going to want to come down. It's always really, really hype. Last tournament in particular, it went to a 10-game grand finals. I didn't know that was possible, but so it was. If you want to see stuff like that, Granite State Grind gonna be the best place to see it. Other than that, if you want more traditional fighting games, we do have Never Hold Back coming up the Saturday afterwards. I believe that is the 24th. And that is going to be a dual Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 bracket. So, we got a little something for everybody in the fighting game sphere. So you're going to want to show up to at least one of those for sure. I know that I will be there at Granite State Grind doing what I do here, except, at the Dining Center instead of the Connection Esports Arena. It is going to be a wonderful, wonderful time, and we hope to see you there. Now, in the meantime, I wonder, I wish I could be a fly on the wall in all of the rooms that the Smash players are congregating, both here and over at Fisher College. This is a very storied matchup, a very important matchup. Quite frankly, whoever wins this is probably going to be first seed going into playoffs. Realistically, I think barring any upsets, any names that I do not know, those are going to be the two strongest teams. But as we go into game here, we have Riku coming out for Fisher East on the Pokemon Trainer, starting off on Squirtle. Two very, very fast characters, but of course, Pokemon Trainer gonna have that versatility of being able to swap at any time, but with this early percent being racked up here for Riku, might not feel any urgency at all to swap. Already has Steven off stage in disadvantage at 73% and counting, trying to get something early, switches to the Ivysaur to maybe secure something quick here, and Steven not able to make it back to stage. Not quite a 0 death, but a 0.7 to death, I suppose. And again, back to that Squirtle, trying to get the same thing happening again. But Steven, ready this time, gonna be able to respond a little bit better, but still gets caught with the grab. It's so difficult now because the Ivysaur switch is there. Now that Steven is back on stage, not at disadvantage, it's not so scary, but I mean, even still, Ivysaur is such an incredible, incredible character that it's really, really difficult to try and find an opening, especially against these high-level, super high-level Pokemon Trainer players. Reads the get-up attack. That's another stock gone for Steven already. Only 41% accrued here on to Riku. This is not how Steven wants to start things out, but can definitely run it back. Just has to play smart here, but I mean, it's so difficult to play your game when you're getting comboed to the ends of the earth. Steven is really looking to try and rush down, but the opportunity just not presenting itself. Riku has been doing an excellent job of really shutting Steven down, but this Charizard swap might be a little bit easier for Steven to get in on. That bigger hitbox gonna be a little bit more fodder, a little bit more combo food. On the same token, gonna kill a lot earlier is that Charizard. And there it is already. Riku, 3-stocking SNHU Blues lead in Steven, and that is about as well as that could have gone for Fisher East to open things up. Again, this is really gonna be a game of who's able to get the momentum, and Riku very much got that momentum early, but I'm not about to count anybody else out here at all. I've seen what every member of this SNHU Blue squad is able to do personally from sitting in this chair for a hot minute now. Riku is not really a player that I am super familiar with, but man, talk about a good first impression. Just so oppressive, swapped at really, really great times, knew how to manage their own resources in terms of which Pokemon they're on, what moves they're using, etc., etc. And it really just did not give Steven any room to breathe. But we have a bit of a switch up here coming in. Definitely no Mario coming up next. We have El Jefe coming out on the Incineroar, and I mean, I'm just hyped to see El Jefe's Incineroar. That character is sick. Incineroar is sick. I don't know how else to put it. But I also think that it is going to be a pretty solid pick because you have that threat of revenge in the back pocket. Even if you don't use it much, it still is going to force Riku and the rest of Fisher East to really, really heavily consider their options as they approach, as they get in. And it makes it for non-true combos to be a little bit less dangerous, because if El Jefe is able to get that revenge out, it's a combo breaker, and it's going to power El Jefe up for his next move. I mean, it's really just a win-win scenario for El Jefe. A lot of it, I'm expecting Riku to go for a lot of grabs in this matchup, but I suppose we will see as we go into game here. Default Insyn skin, not normally what I see El Jefe rock, but I respect it. I respect it. And I believe there might be a bit of a miscommunication here, maybe a controller issue. Gonna be restarting here as Riku takes a few unceremonious dives. Wrong stage. That'll do it. I'm all for seeing less Pokemon Stadium in my life, but I think that's a controversial opinion. I don't know. Regardless, whether it's a controversial opinion or not, we're not going to be seeing Pokemon Stadium for this next game here. I am excited to see what we do end up on, because Incineroar is not the best character in terms of mobility, so picking a stage that really plays to Incineroar's strengths and downplays those weaknesses is such a big part of his game. I mean, Incineroar is strong, but is very slow on the ground, has limited jump height, and a fairly risky recovery, so you really want to get onto a stage where that is less important. Now, as we go in, we'll be able to see exactly what El Jefe is going for here, and let me see. I'm not in no position to judge, but Kalos gonna be a pretty solid pick. It's a big stage with those two platforms at the side. I think that this is going to do wonders for El Jefe here, but not if he gets comboed into Oblivion here. Able to make it back to stage, and that is a nice little punish. Gonna force Riku into a bit of a disadvantaged state. Both these players just trying to find that opening, and again, Riku just striking while the iron's hot. Finds the opening, combos it into even more percent. El Jefe at 109 and counting, with this Charizard coming out. That's going to be even more damage, accruing even more quickly. But that's the other side of the coin. Incineroar, fairly heavy, able to survive that up smash as well, but also hits like a truck. that Darkest Lariat does so much damage, is a great get-off-me tool at a stage, and we see that Revenge coming in as a ledge guard tool, and is going to allow El Jefe to get Riku up to 122. This throw might kill. The back throw at ledge does in fact accrue SNHU Blue their first stock, but I absolutely thought that was going to kill. The water gun might just secure it. Oh, still in special fall. Oh, El Jefe just barely not able to make it back to stage, but still that is a 1-for-1 stock trade. Not exactly ideal when you're down, but it's still stocks that you're taking, and it is significantly better than nothing at all. I am so impressed with Riku's combo game on the Squirtle. It feels like they're slowing down just a little bit when they're off that Squirtle pick, but I mean that the Squirtle's putting in so much work that it doesn't really matter at this point. El Jefe is just really struggling to get around it because once Incineroar is in disadvantage state, it's so difficult to get out of, and that is exactly why it's so difficult to get back to stage, especially into a character like Ivysaur with those spike options. Great aerials, I mean, it's just so difficult, but El Jefe with that percent reset here might be able to secure this next stock very quickly, but not if Riku has anything to say about it. Already these percentages are just about even. And that Razor Leaf is such a strong tool in the neutral. I mean, really, Incineroar doesn't have a lot to combat it. There's no real projectile there. There's no real response to it, except for a back air on the switch to Charizard. Suppose that works just as well. And again, we see that Darkest Lariat used in neutral as a get-off-me tool. Suppose that is Incineroar's best response. Covering low to dodge that water gun. And again, El Jefe really doing a good job to make it back to stage. Techs the spike too? I thought that was over. This back throw, up throw might make it so. No, the DI is just too good, but Incineroar not able to recover. A valiant effort from El Jefe, taking 2 stocks off of Riku, but still ends up falling there, unfortunately. 10-6 stocks favoring Fisher East here to start us off in game 1. 2 players remain here for SNHU Blue. You can see everybody going through all their stats here. I believe that is going to be for any player of the match things that we want to do after the game is done. That is a thing that we are running back this semester. Quite frankly, I'm very, very happy to see it. Now, I personally am no master of Smash, but I really, really would like to see a super versatile character come out here. Thrigs coming out on the Yoshi, I think that is a fairly solid choice. Even though the up B does not really provide a ton of recovery, that egg is going to be so good at providing opportunities in the neutral. Remember, if you're Thrigs, your main goal right now is to just get Riku out of the lobby and then take whatever's next as it gets handed to you. At the end of the day, every stock, that is your end goal, to take that stock. So I really think that Yoshi is a solid choice because, I mean, I don't think I need to tell you about Yoshi's kill power. If you've been watching any of our Granite State Grinds, anything like that, I mean, it is on full display every time. Up air, so good. Down air is able to accrue a lot of percentage very, very quickly. I mean, it really, Yoshi, I think, is maybe not the singular perfect pick going into this, but because I do not know the perfect pick, but really, really do appreciate that. And that is a rarity that I appreciate a Yoshi pick at all. So really, really want Thrigs to turn up here so that we get to see another look from Fisher East. We know that they have plenty of talent on their bench right now as well. So really, at the end of the day, you know, I'm always going to be a little bit biased towards my fellow students, but I'm really just here to see some good Super Smash Brothers at the end of the day. So I mean, the more people, the more looks we are able to see, the better, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Yeah, man, I really am excited to see this Yoshi. I have maybe not been fully converted after the last GSG, but last GSG, again, the 10 game final was, I believe, a Yoshi Snake finals, and I think that really converted me to how hype those characters can be. I think I'm starting to see the light, at least a little bit. I mean, I really think that Egg is just one of the highest skill ceiling abilities in the entire game. It's so good at poking, can follow up or end combos for that little bit of extra damage. Really one of Yoshi's best tools, other than the litany of great kill moves at his disposal. I mean, that is going to be the boon, I think, for Thrigs in this upcoming matchup, especially because it might be able to compete with that Razor Leaf a little bit, at least provide some sort of response to outspace the Ivysaur when it does come out. Obviously, you still have to sort of deal with Squirtle there from Riku, but when you're down onto one stock, I think maybe you might lean towards swapping to that Ivysaur a little bit earlier, just because Ivysaur is able to sneak out some kills a little bit easier. Of course, at the end of the day, time is going to tell more than I can ever say here. So as we just wait for everybody to ready up, get settled, I really, really do think that this Yoshi can sort of blaze a path for the rest of SNHU. And here we go as we get into the game here. Blue Yoshi, respectable. I believe in some communities that is considered cyan or teal. With Riku on one stock remaining, does seem like they might want to start on the Squirtle, but nope. Going immediately for the Ivysaur, the taunt signaling that both players are ready. And yep, that Razor Leaf in the neutral. That's the strong tool that Riku's been using this entire time to provoke mistakes and capitalize on them. Of course, the double jump, I believe, does have some armor. We saw it there into Riku's up air. It's going to be a really good tool to try and combat that, because I assume Riku is going to be really looking for those up and down airs. Whereas Thrigs, really, all he has to do is just get a couple good combos and find one little mistake. Not going to be finding a mistake there. Riku sends out the forward smash at ledge. That is a very, very early first stock being taken there. That definitely took me by surprise. I would not be shocked if Thrigs was not expecting that at all, and it really puts Thrigs on the back foot here. Again, the double jump armor going to allow Thrigs to make it back to stage, but it's just so tough to find this opportunity to get in. Again, the double jump armor, so strong, but it doesn't do everything for you. The Charizard swap maybe looking to secure a kill now, but again, I really don't know if this is a successful strategy, especially now you don't really have anything to go into the eggs, but an F-tilt will take that stock. As we go back to Squirtle here, yep, Ivysaur again, right out. I mean, it's really just so difficult when that Razor Leaf is out. A very, very strong projectile. You can see it goes incredibly far fairly quickly, clashes with those eggs, does a good chunk of damage, and allows Riku to have a lot of follow-ups here. A Bullet Seed, not a very common move, but the up B there, I believe that's Vine Whip coming out from Riku. Gonna take that last stock from Thrigs very suddenly. SNHU Blue on their last player here. Very, very swift play there from Riku. I'm gonna be completely honest. I did not know about your game, but I respect it. 100%. Pokemon Trainer is a very difficult character to master in that way, because quite frankly, it's 3 characters. You got to learn 3 separate characters, 3 separate matchup charts. Very, very high skill ceiling character. So to see such a dominant performance on that Pokemon Trainer is so impressive, especially because Riku is not really sticking with one character, and it really isn't even shying away from using the Charizard at times, which I believe is fairly widely considered the worst of the trio. Truly incredible play from Riku. It falls onto SNHU's last player in this game to try and run this back and make it even, but it is a Herculean task. Not impossible, but as we get in here, Cruss going out on Old Reliable on the Falco. We got Small Battlefield. Cruss, again, really good at getting those combos going, so if he is able to get that combo started, I think that whatever this last stock that Riku has might not last very long, but I said that with Steven too, and was wrong last time, but that grab is going to open up a lot of opportunities here. The cutscene has started, but no, a great air dodge, going to get him out of it. Another cutscene has started. There we go, this time in Riku's favor. Percentage is about even, but again, Riku only has 1 stock remaining. And Falco known to be able to get some quick ones with that back air. That back air does connect. Cruss bringing this down. Riku has fallen. Fisher East going to be sending out a new player here. 9 stocks to 3 in favor of Fisher East. Not out of it yet is SNHU Blue. Of course, these are played in best of 3 sets, but you're going to want to take stocks at every possible opportunity, even if it is a large mountain to climb right now. If you're able to run it back, bring this to even, that's gonna help the mental, and more importantly, might end up securing you a point in this set early. Again, gonna be very difficult, but we have seen far more absurd things on this broadcast in years past, so I have learned at this point to not count anyone or anything out of the question when I'm sitting in this chair at all. I have been surprised by just about everything that I could possibly be surprised by. The interesting position that SNHU is put in right now is because they're on their last player, the rest of Fisher East knows that they just have to face Falco. There's no risk of counterpicking. Now they are able to do all the counterpicking. They are in the driver's seat, really able to tune their next matchup to whoever think is going to be able to really just shut down Cruss, not allow him any opportunity to get those combos going. So I'm really intrigued to see who Fisher sends out next. I mean, I'm not a bettor, I'm no gambler, but they have Tony Pajamas on the bench right now, just waiting for the opportunity to get on stage. Ness, a very oppressive character, so I would not be surprised to see that, but you know, they don't always play Tony Pajamas game 1, so I suppose we will have to wait and see. But Cruss gonna try to ride that wave of momentum, trying to bring this back to an even game after taking Riku out of the equation. You know, one of these days I'm gonna smarten up and start bringing water here, but sometimes when it gets too hype, you just don't need it anymore. And once we get into the game, I think my need for water will be put on the back burner here. I have been so impressed by Cruss and his ability to adapt to different scenarios. Cruss is, I think, one of the more lab-prone players on the team. Generally tends to come out with some new options. We saw for a spell he was trying out the Rob, I believe, last semester. Has pivoted back to the Falco, but I have heard that he has the tendency to experiment with different characters. Obviously, we're not going to see that right now because, like I said, he's locked into that Falco for the rest of his stocks in this game, but maybe next set we might see a bit of a pivot. Usually, sometimes SNHU will end up not sending in Steven first for the second set, depending on what they feel would be most advantageous at the time. Of course, they tend to send Steven out first because it's a very all-around matchup. And I have received word that Fisher East indeed sending out Tony Pajamas. They want to end this first game quickly here. Just to put it succinctly, if you have been following these matchups at all, you will know that the vibe in the building changes when Tony Pajamas enters the lobby, and as we get into game here, I don't expect that to change at all. 3 stocks versus 3 stocks here, a supposedly even matchup, but of course, SNHU with only 3 stocks remaining, still Cross getting the early advantage state here, getting almost 50% off of one combo there. Now, still have to find that neutral opportunity, and Tony Pajamas may have found it first. Not able to combo out of that, maybe expecting a roll in, but again, Cross so good at finding these little opportunities to get something cooking here, and so good at spacing out to capitalize on those opportunities. Might be able to get a punish off that. No, Tony Pajamas being very, very safe on the platform. Still, though, in a bit of a disadvantaged state here. Look at the drag down forward air, too. That's a lot of damage there off of a smash attack, I believe. But Tony Pajamas using that PK Thunder to get out of dodge, force Crust off the offensive here, and now, again, we're just back at neutral. These players trying to find something to secure a stock. You know, sometimes the back air will just do one of Ness's strongest moves, as you just saw, but now Crust probably not going to be playing quite as scared here with that percent reset, but you still have to be very, very wary when that PK fire and those grabs are still at play. This is very, very tough at ledge. Catches him. Oh, wow. Reads the recovery to stage. Pivots around. Gets the kill off the PK rocket. That was sick. Gets the kill spark on the forward air. Does cross, but it doesn't actually secure a kill. Tries to 2-frame. Not able to do it. Maybe this time. No, DI. Just too good from Tony Pajamas here. Again, just trying to find that 2-frame just to secure this stock, but it's so difficult, especially on Wi-Fi. That is, I believe, a 2-frame window. And on Wi-Fi, that is not super consistent at all. So it is worth going for, but you're not going to land it nearly as much as you would on land. That is a nice grab, though. Forces Tony Pajamas again off stage in a disadvantageous position. Has to find his way back to stage. Gets back to ledge, but gets caught with a nair. Tony Pajamas at 177.6. The drag down fair. No capitalization there. No kill. Tony Pajamas back on stage. No longer in that constant state of trying to get back to ledge. But there we go. That forward air finally going to take that stock. Tony Pajamas back at 0%. 2 stocks remaining. Cross with only 1 left of his own. Makes it back to center stage, though, so might be able to get something cooking here. Again, Tony Pajamas gonna really play this super passively here. There's no real urgency to try and get too aggressive here, try and find anything early, because Fisher is in such a comfortable position. That back throw, is going to put Crust in a very, very tough spot, but again, able to make it back to ledge, maybe not back to stage, but at least back to ledge. And Tony Pajamas just lying in wait, playing with his food a little bit, perhaps. Not a particularly smart decision against a player like Kruss, who is able to get such strong combos going, but I mean, Fisher East is in such a nice spot right now. 8 stocks to Kruss's 1. Like I said, nothing is impossible per se, but when Kruss is off stage, that forward tilt just barely gonna do it. Fisher East taking game 1 in the set in dominant fashion here. I'm going to need to go back and look at some of those stats, because I saw, I believe it was a max launch speed stat on there that I'm not exactly sure that I believe, but somewhere in the 600 kilometers per hour mark. That's fast. That's not in our units of measurement, but 600 is a high number. Now, it's going to be up to SNHU to try and find a way to pivot, to respond here. Insignia talking with Coach Duffy, trying to formulate a plan here. Insignia, a very, very strong presence for this SNHU blue team. I'm personally hoping to see maybe that Bowser come out. I believe. I believe Insignia also dabbles in Corin, but that might be Thrigs. Some very versatile players on this team, and I think at this juncture that versatility is going to be such a strong asset. You know, you want to provide different looks so that you're not, so that Fisher is essentially going in blind. Being able to know exactly what your opponent is doing is such a valuable asset. That's why high-level teams will do intensive VOD review both of themselves and of their opponents in the time leading up to games. It really just takes the element of surprise out of the lobby, which is so strong. The council is preparing, trying to find who they want to send in to the fire to begin game 2 in the set. I would imagine that Duffy and the rest of SNHU Blue are sort of waiting for Fisher East to say who they are going to send in first, and then they're going to base their pick off of that. But really, this is a fairly tough position to be put in as a team, because you never want to be put on the back foot, especially after a 2-0 victory last week. You know, you want to be able to keep those wins coming, because it'll set you up for a better position later in the season. Historically, these two teams have competed many times, and it has usually gone the way of Fisher, but these teams have also tended to meet back up in playoffs, because SNHU has a very good track record of making it to NECC playoffs. You know that even in week 2, all of these players are going to be looking ahead towards later in the season, towards playoffs. At the end of the day, that's the end goal, to be the best team in the division at the end of playoffs. But sometimes, you know, with moments like these, it's best to focus in on the night at hand, focus in, find a response. I believe we might see Insignia moving slowly but surely towards the content room. Again, I'm an Insignia enjoyer. Plays Bowser. Bowser is a very sick character, and I think is a fairly solid pick depending on who Fisher sends out first. Obviously, you don't really want to send in a heavyweight into a combo-heavy character, but Bowser is ridiculously fast for his kill power as well, so definitely not the most disadvantageous heavyweight to send in at any given time. And honestly, it's shown fast, so I wouldn't put it past him. But like I said, Insignia has a couple of other characters in the back pocket that we might also see be pulled out. So time will tell, and my friends over in the content room will probably tell what Insignia is going to be playing. I did see him make his way into the content room, so I assume that means that he is going to be playing out this set, starting us off for SNHU Blue. But again, I don't exactly know what Insignia is going to pick. I'm leaning towards the Bowser because that's generally what Insignia has been playing historically. But if there were ever a time for a switch up, it might be now against Fisher East. Like I said, that element of surprise is such a strong factor across any game. I know for a fact that in my collegiate experience, we have been thwarted on multiple occasions by teams pulling out the secret lab strat that they've been working on under the radar, exclusively in scrims all season, completely upending all the preparation that we've made. Stuff like that plays a much bigger part later in the season, but every advantage you can take against a team like Fisher, you take, including the element of surprise. And I mean, like I said, I keep going back to the history between these two teams, but how can I not? I believe Luxa, on multiple occasions, has made his way to the Connection Esports arena. So these teams, despite facing each other so many times, very, very close-knit. I believe Luxa, good friends with plenty of people on the team. As we get into game here, it's Tony Pajamas starting us off against Insignia on the Bowser. And yeah, I really, it's going to be difficult for Insignia just because a lot of NECC's attacks are those multi-hits that combo really, really nicely. Those are kind of the bane of heavyweights, but again, Bowser is fairly fast and hits like a truck. So you're willing to take a couple hits if it means that you can, at the end of the day, secure a stock. Neither of these players have really found a super consistent way out of the neutral so far. Percentages about even, tries to read the drift in, but no, gets the back throw out, and that down smash ledge guard is such a strong tool in NECC's kit on charge up that does have a hitbox that you saw, and obviously you can combo it into the actual hit of NECC down smash, which does a ton of knockback. But I mean, Insignia really recovering super well, not dwelling on it at all, it seems. Tony Pajamas already up to 136%. One good hit from Bowser is probably going to do it, but you have to be very careful when you get hit by those forward tilt or those forward air combos that can lead to a down air, but the Bowser Bomb gonna secure a stock very, very quickly here. Even 11 stocks to 11 stocks. A nice parry might open up a window of opportunity here for Insignia, but no, not quite. Only 13% compared to Insignia's 104. Weight is going to play a factor into this matchup, but when you have to play around that ledge guarding potential of NECC, it's so difficult, even if you're heavy. The falling nair is going to do a little bit more damage as these players just try to find their opening to get a kill. Sends out the drop kick, does not land, puts Insignia in a pretty tough spot, but able to make it back to ledge before Tony Pajamas can start cooking up a ledge guard. Might be able to get something cooking here. No, back to ledge. Insignia gets a nice down air, takes the pressure off, does not get hit with last hit of the up air, and that up being one of Bowser's best options in general. Comes out very, very quick, does a lot of damage. That up tilt, maybe the DI mix-up or something. I don't know if Tony Pajamas was expecting that. We are even one stock to one stock here. This is a very, very nice pivot from SNHU Blue, and it seems to be paying dividends here in this matchup. Still, though, you have to watch out for these combos. Insignia already at 46, but Tony Pajamas not too far behind. You just have to make sure that you don't get caught off stage unaware. That grab going to be a little bit difficult for Insignia to recover from, but seems to be doing a decent job at it. But again, sent off stage, has to avoid that yo-yo, not able to. Tony Pajamas takes game one here. Still though, only one stock remaining, which is very, very different from what we saw last game in the set. I believe here we have El Jefe making his way around the room, convening with Insignia here, just trying to get on the same page, trying to find whatever weaknesses may be present in Tony Pajamas' game. Only have to take one stock, and if El Jefe's Incineroar is anything to go by, might be pretty quick, just because that Incineroar is so strong, so quickly able to take stocks, has plenty of kill moves, especially when you have that Revenge up, ready, rockin'. Revenge is so strong, man. Yeah, we do have confirmation. El Jefe is going to be going in, trying to take Tony Pajamas down here to even up the stock count early, not fall into that pit, fall into that spiral that it is so easy to fall into in this crew battle format. SNHU just really wants to even this up now, take Tony Pajamas out of the equation, because if you're able to do that, I mean, I feel like Tony Pajamas is widely considered Fisher East's best player, so if you're able to take down their best player, I mean, that is a big, big boon going forward in the set. With one stock remaining, this is the most achievable it has felt all night, potentially in a hot, hot minute. That was a great performance from Insignia to get everybody started, everybody pumped up. And now, we wait. We wait to see what El Jefe is pulling out. I believe it's going to be the Incineroar. Maybe a skin switch up, potentially. Incineroar has some very good skins. I'm partial to blue Incineroar myself. Call me superstitious, but I think that some skins are better than others, not just aesthetically, but mechanically. It gives you that confidence boost, perhaps, but that is my superstitious former player ramblings taking over. Realistically, El Jefe's main goal right now, El Jefe's only goal right now, should just be get Tony Pajamas out of the lobby. That will pave a path towards the rest of the matchup here, because again, you don't have that threat looming over you. The amount of times that I have seen the mood in this room change when Tony Pajamas is out of the lobby it's a lot. It's a very different vibe when you don't have that star player ready and waiting. That is the name of the game. That is the win condition here for El Jefe, and as we get into game, we'll see if he'll be able to properly execute on it. Tony Pajamas going to take those two stocks here to start us off. And as we get back on the small battlefield, not a very ideal stage for a character like Incineroar, but if you're able to get a kill quickly, it might not end up mattering in the long run. But these aerials, so strong for Ness, so oppressive into a character like Incineroar. Shields the get up attack, does Tony Pajamas, and puts El Jefe in a fairly rough position here, still able to make it back to center stage. Again, that Darkest Lariat, such a strong move in neutral, out of shield, comes out quick, does a lot of damage, does a lot of knockback. misses the timing on that side B, which might prove disastrous, but does get a good chunk of damage ready. You can't get caught with that PK fire on ledge. Tony Pajamas able to dodge through that big hit of Incineroar up B, but it looks to me like El Jefe might be starting to get some ground here. Tony Pajamas again caught off ledge here. Just have to read the get up option, not able to do so. Gets hit with the forward air, but again, El Jefe keeping calm, keeping cool, doing a lot of damage, just has to get around this. Yo-Yo is able to. The neutral air, though, does end up securing that stock just barely. But now, you know, El Jefe does not probably feel quite as compelled to play scared, play slow. You really just have to find one more move. That might have done it. Gets hit off the stage, not able to make it. Tony Pajamas, the last stock has gone down. Tony Pajamas is out for the rest of game 2 here in this set. The pop-off that I heard from the Smash players over by the console cave, could hear that through my headphones for sure. That just shows how much of an impact Tony Pajamas has on the lobby. I'm really interested to see what Fisher East decides to roll out with next. You know, might look to go back to the well with Riku. Had a great performance last game, might be able to keep it up this time, but also you might want to opt for someone else now that SNHU has the knowledge, has the game plan ready and formulated. El Jefe only loses one stock in that matchup as well, which is super, super good for the rest of SNHU Blue. It is a one stock game at this point, which is about as good as you could possibly ask for when you're going into a team like Fisher East. One stock, not very, very much until you get down to those last, you know, 1 or 2 players. But when you're still sitting pretty with 3 remaining on both sides, it feels pretty okay, especially when you're able to say you took Tony Pajamas out of the equation, at least temporarily. Yeah, huge shout outs to El Jefe. That was a great play. I was so impressed with how El Jefe was able to avoid all of the ledge trap options that NECC can throw out. Incineroar, really not known for his offstage play, so that was super strong from El Jefe. Very strong, and something that he's going to want to take moving forward into this next game. I would expect that Incineroar to be just as strong moving forward, though these players for SNHU Blue, remarkably consistent, just in general. And I mean, as we wait for, I mean, really, Fisher, I don't know if they expected to be put in this position. Usually, when Tony Pajamas gets sent in first, that signals pretty much the end of the night, or close to it anyway. Usually, he's able to get a lot more mileage out of those 3 stocks, but the bleeding was stopped there. And as we, I believe, are just about getting ready to go into this game, just about, El Jefe is really going to look to just keep this rolling. If you're able to convert taking out Tony Pajamas into something a little bit bigger, maybe widening your own lead, getting things back to neutral, and then widening that gap, making sure that you have, you know, a 1-2 stock buffer. That's the name of the game now. Now, the goalpost has shifted. Tony Pajamas out of the way. Now, it's all about pumping on the gas, pedal to the metal, just trying to find every single percentage point, every single stock that you possibly can. Here we go. We got Kiwi on the Pac-Man. Oh, I am a Pac-Man enjoyer, so I'm very interested to see what Kiwi is able to do here. I believe we have seen this player in the past, and Pac-Man, probably one of the highest skill ceiling characters in the entire game. So difficult to use effectively, but when you can use Pac-Man effectively, there's really no other character like him. Still though, with a lot of those projectiles being very, very predictable, might end up feeding El Jefe's revenge a little bit more than Kiwi would like here. Already seen it used twice on the battleship there, and puts Kiwi in a very rough spot here, already at 92%. When you're into Incineroar, that is very quickly approaching kill percent. Still though, Pac-Man has plenty of options to guard the ledge here, and that bell, ooh, the risky revenge might end up paying dividends. That was a bold option there, but got him out of dodge. El Jefe though still has to find his way back to stage. And this is where Pac-Man thrives, is center stage, being able to set up whatever they can, but that back air gonna stop them from doing so. Kiwi does get the bell, however, when get in that Angel platform invincibility, and that is going to take El Jefe's second stock, and this is where momentum could possibly shift. Neither player has really found anything super conclusive in terms of neutral just yet. But, I mean, if El Jefe keeps getting this revenge, it might be huge. Does unload it onto the fire hydrant, which is not an interaction that I think I've ever seen before. But you have to be so careful now that Kiwi has that bell in the back pocket. Saved by the platform, but it's still in play. The Z-drop does catch El Jefe, but not getting converted on, which is very beneficial for El Jefe, but you're still in a dangerous spot because you have to make it back to center stage, which is not something that Incineroar is good at. That key from downtown gonna secure the stock for Kiwi. 8-6 in favor of Fisher East. A better deficit than last game, but still not exactly where SNHU Blue would like to be. I believe we may have Cross coming in up next. I saw him make his way in the content room. Very valiant play there from El Jefe. Take another stock. I'm intrigued to see if Cross ends up going back to the Falco, maybe pulling the Rob back out. I could be wrong, but I believe Crust has experimented with the Luigi in the past. So that might be a potential option there for him. But nope. Deciding to go back to Ult Reliable. Crust running it back with the Falco. I think it's a smart choice at this juncture. Sometimes it's wise to make those big switch ups, but I don't think now is one of those times. Really, it's about playing to your strengths, trying to bring this deficit back to a neutral game, and then from there, it's a lot less scary. You know, you're on the exact same playing field, able to just bring it back to like the game just started. You don't have any of the difficulties of, you know, the come behind type, you know, scenario. I don't exactly, you know, believe it or not, I am not in the minds of every single Smash player in this building, but when I would be in situations as a player where I was down, getting back to neutral was the best thing possible because it really provides that sort of mental reset for everybody on the team. I think especially in a fighting game crew battle scenario, that applies even more so. But we shall see. This Falco proven to put in work in the past, but as we end the game, that, like I said, that Pac-Man, such a high skill character, sometimes very difficult to play around. No KK slider on stage, so unfortunately we will have to live without for the time being. But you know very well that Kiwi is going to look to get set up immediately here. This is a smaller stage, so going to be able to use those projectiles to great effect here. still do have to be careful because I believe at least a good chunk of those can get reflected. You do have that option in the back pocket, but Kiwi is doing such a good job at zoning out the stage, but no, you can't sleep for a moment. Crust, again, so good at getting these combos going, especially on a small stage like this. I mean, you're really going to be able to get a lot of value out of those combos, even percentage-wise. This is a decent spot for Crust to have put himself in. But you still have to try and take that stock without getting traded. You are not in a position, if you're Crust, where you can take trades comfortably. You just have to avoid these offstage options. But no, Kiwi using the Fire Hydrant to his advantage ends up getting the down air to kill there. And, I mean, again, you know, just as I was going to play up Kiwi's success, Crust just gets a back air. Brings Kiwi down to 1 stock remaining here, 7-5. The deficit remains the same, but Kiwi only has 1 stock remaining. Usually we tend to see players on their last stock get a little bit more defensive, a little bit more passive. That is where Pac-Man does like to play, just because he has so many options, so many different projectiles, both damaging and not. But Crust is really not allowing Kiwi to get into any position to do that. Tries to get the grab off the Fire Hydrant boost, but no, the forward smash off rip just barely going to be enough to kill. It's a very difficult position, but with Kiwi at 94, I mean, 1 back air, yep, that is going to do it. DI will not save you at that percent. Crust has brought it down to a 6-4 game here. This is very, very much achievable here for SNHU. They just need to take 6 more stocks to bring this set to 1-1. Then we would go to a 3rd game to decide it all, but we can't jump ahead too far because 6 stocks to 4 is still not a super ideal position there. You know, you want, obviously, you want to be in the lead, or at bare minimum, you want to be neutral. But Fisher East has been doing such a good job across all of their players in terms of being able to maintain composure, not allowing themselves to slip at all, no real callous mistakes being made. They've done such a good job at that, and that is really one of the big intangibles that you don't always see expressed explicitly in terms of just straight up individual play. But I mean, it really is something to keep in the back of your mind. How are these players doing mentally? Are they, you know, still head in the game, perfectly focused? Are they, you know, maybe getting a little overconfident? Or on the flip side, or is their confidence a little bit shot? Are they going to be second guessing their options as they move forward? Really, every esport is a mental game first and foremost. I mention it every time because every single week, every single game, it is equally as important. Your mental is the biggest component of every single esport that has ever existed. As we bring it into this next match approaching rapidly, we do have Riku coming back out here for Fisher. Don't want to play the rest of their hand when they don't need to here, going back out on that Pokemon trainer that got them so much mileage last game. You know, I know for a fact Fisher just wants to secure this right now. They wanted to secure it right away when they sent out Tony Pajamas to start things off in this game. Weren't able to do it then, so now they're going to try and do it now. I really think that Pokemon Trainer is such a strong pick, especially this late in the game. Again, Pokemon Trainer is 3 characters. Crust has 1 stock left, and then SNHU has 1 more player that they can send out. That's not a lot to counter-pick those characters to play around whatever Riku is trying. Potentially Riku could swap things up here, but I don't see any need to. That Pokemon trainer proved so devastating in game 1, so I expect the same thing to be shown here. And the real tough part for SNHU is, even if you do take down Riku on this Pokemon trainer, there's still another player that you have seen nothing of today, at least. Like I said, I assume these players have been doing their reviews, or, this is a very tight-knit community, so I wouldn't be surprised if they know what everybody on Fisher is going to be playing, even without doing their studying. But nope, Riku going back on the Pokemon trainer here, gonna look to take 4 stocks from SNHU Blue. SNHU Blue has the slightly more difficult task of taking 6 here, but on Final Destination, very neutral stage, I think it is going to favor Riku a little bit directly or not, because it's not going to allow across those platforms to keep your combos extending. That was a little bit scary. We could hear the gasps coming from the console cave area, but no, Cross able to make it back to stage. Does get grabbed though, and those Squirtle grab combos are able to accrue so much damage. Riku opting to swap to the Ivysaur though. Does not see the value in the Squirtle persisting for too much longer. Instead, wants to pump out those Razor Leafs, try to find those opportunities, get an early kill, secure it here onto Cross. You only have to find 1! And Cross, the angle just not quite low enough, sends him just above the ledge. Cross falls. Riku bring this to a 6-3 stock game here. That is such an unfortunate mishap there. I believe I heard some talk of Firefox notches from the side there, and look, I'm not going to express my opinions on Melee at this desk. I have done so before, and if you are willing to look for them, I'm sure you will find them. But it's really just so unfortunate. That angle can be so inconsistent sometimes. Maybe if Cress gets back to ledge there, things look a little different right now, but it's so difficult when you're off stage trying to combat such a proficient Pokemon trainer, because again, they have just about every tool in the toolbox at their disposal. Something they want to do on Ivysaur doesn't quite work. They can if something that they want to send out on the Ivysaur doesn't quite work, they can swap over to the Charizard and then swap right back over to the Squirtle. So many options at their disposal, but we do have Thrigs coming out on the Zero Suit Samus here. A little bit of a pivot here, but Zero Suit might end up being very solid. Good combo potential, very, very quick. I think being able to shut down Riku and whoever Fisher East decides to send in next is a very, very critical part at the potentially final juncture in this matchup. So if you're able to get that early momentum, start those combos up, really just shut down the rest of Fisher East completely, then you're in a really good spot. But you still have to take 6 stocks with only 3 of your own, which is, again, not impossible, but it is certainly difficult. Especially since, we haven't seen who Fisher is going to send out last. We've only seen these 3 players, Tony Pajamas, Riku, and Kiwi on the Pac-Man. So there's still the sort of potential ace that Fisher could send out here if we do get that far. But that is a little bit ahead. Right now, Thrags just has to focus on the task ahead, taking down Riku. That is the end goal right now. That is the win condition, not only for Thrigs, but for the rest of SNHU Blue to keep them in this set. Every win so important, but especially at the start of the season, as these teams are starting to sort into their positions in the bracket. I mean, I think consistently I might be corrected post-haste here, but I believe historically Fisher East and SNHU Blue, whenever they've been in the bracket together, have been 1 and 2 respectively, or if they've not been in the same exact division, they've both been first seed in their respective divisions, where they would then meet quickly in playoffs. If they're able to, if SNHU Blue is able to take this game, able to run it back, that puts them in a great position tonight, but also puts them in a great position going forward throughout the rest of this season. But we'll have to see if Thrigs is able to make it happen into Riku here. Again, 3 stocks to 3 stocks here, but you still have that last player looming in the background for Fisher East. Thrigs starting off hot, gets a good chunk of damage, but does end up getting grabbed at ledge, and that is real scary. The Ivysaur does, again, come out. I've noticed Riku's swapping to that Ivysaur a little bit faster now. Maybe just wants to, you know, get those kills a little bit earlier, trying to find something a little faster. Swapping over to the to the Charizard instead. And just, that's so much damage. Zero Suit, not the heaviest character in the game by a long shot, so might just be looking to get that extra knockback from these big, hefty moves that Charizard does have, but that big hitbox is such a difficult thing to navigate around, especially into a very fast character, such as Zero Suit Samus. Gets grabbed from long range with that tether grab, and really, Thrigs is in a decent position right now, about even percent-wise, but it doesn't really feel like Riku has been in the driver's seat for very long. That grab, though, is going to hit the platform, and that is what Riku was fishing for. That is a very quick stock, and is secured off of a single grab. Riku at 110, again, going to swap the Ivysaur, a little bit heftier, a little bit weightier than that Squirtle. Not very safe to stick on that Squirtle for too long, but with Riku at 132 off stage, is able to tether, but has to make it around whatever option Thrigs is going to send out, is able to do so, makes it back to center stage, and now it is Thrigs on the back foot in this disadvantaged state. Still pokes through the shield at 151. You have to imagine Riku is not going to be lasting too much longer. The Charizard swap is going to be there to give him a little bit more longevity, but not going to last. I believe that was a back air coming out on landing. 2 stocks to 2 stocks here. Thrigs at 82%. Definitely not out of it just yet. Has to find maybe a good combo or two to even up this percentage number, but stocks, bare minimum, are even right now. Just waiting, trying to find the opportunity, but again, Riku swapping this Charizard fairly early here. Might just be looking to secure a quick kill here. Charizard's moves do so much knockback, and at a percentage like this, oh, that fire at ledge, just such a dangerous option. Ends up gimping there, and woo, that was almost a nice combo, but the swap effectively working as an air dodge there does get Riku out of dodge, at least for the moment. The combos here coming out from Riku. Only 1 stock remaining for Thrigs. This is the final stock in this game. If Thrigs is able to take 2 more of Riku's stocks, we're in a last game scenario, but that is a tough mountain to climb right now, especially because Ivysaur has so many good moves, and when you're off stage, you're really vulnerable to a lot of them. The Charizard swap once again coming through, considering at kill percentage is Thrigs, I assume, on the part of Riku. That is a nice mid-air paralyze there. Does get converted into an up B there. Does secure the stock. Some very scary play at center stage here, but no major punish coming through from Riku. 1 stock to 1 stock, but 108% is not where Thrigs wants to be right now. You have to find something. Reads the dodge, but reads the roll in, but the forward smash not going to kill. The DI is just too good there from Thrigs, but this is a dangerous spot, Riku doesn't elect to convert onto that hit there. Instead, opts to switch to the Charizard. That hitbox just too big. Riku ends it out there for tonight. Fisher East gets down to 4 stocks here. SNHU Blue, unfortunately, not able to run it all the way back, but a very valiant effort on the part of every single player there from SNHU Blue. They knew going into tonight that it was going to be a difficult matchup, and it certainly was. SNHU Blue, definitely though, showing what they are capable of there, bring Fisher into a potentially very scary situation. As the season progresses, as these two teams get a little bit more experience under their belt, maybe shake some of the potential rust off, whatever, it's going to be really interesting to see if this matchup happens again, and if it does, if anything changes. You know, like I said, historically, usually when Tony Pajamas gets sent in first, that is the death knell, but not tonight. Tony Pajamas not really getting a ton of value being sent out first. So, to end us off tonight, we do have a couple of things coming up. As I stated previously in the broadcast, we do have Granite State Grind this Saturday. It's looking to be a pretty big one here. I believe it was 35 entrants as of this afternoon, so you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a very, very good event. Like I said, if you're not into Super Smash Brothers, playing Super Smash Brothers, that's all right, because we do have that Street Fighter 6 Tekken 8 Never Hold Back tournament the Saturday after. I believe that is the 24th. For all the details on that, you're going to want to look to all of our social media channels, our Twitter, our Discord, our Instagram. Follow all of them, join them, turn on your notifications. You'll never miss a thing that we do here. We're going to be back, I believe, tomorrow with some League of Legends, some Overwatch on Thursday, and I believe we have another Overwatch in-house ECC match on Friday. So it's going to be a big week for SNHU Esports. Like I said, turn on those notifications. You're not going to want to miss it. Until then, we will see you around. Have a great night.
Marshall Peach finds one by